Welcome to this explainer. You know those iconic photos of Tokyo? The neon-lit, smoke-filled alleyways, trains clattering overhead, thick charcoal smoke just billowing into the street. You've probably looked at that and thought, man, how does anyone actually figure out how to eat there? It looks pretty intimidating, right? Well, today, we're gonna flip that script. We're taking the intimidating allure of Omoide Yokocho and its super tightly packed 5-seat counterbars and turning it into an exciting adventure for you. I'm going to give you the confidence to just slide right onto one of those stools. By the end of this, you'll be navigating this legendary spot exactly like a local. No first-timer anxiety, guaranteed. So here's our game plan. 1. Navigating Shinjuku's hidden alley. 2. Nailing the perfect timing and costs. 3. The unwritten etiquette rules. And 4. Avoiding those sneaky first-timer surprises. All right, let's jump straight into part 1, navigating Shinjuku's hidden alley. What makes Omoide Yokocho so incredibly special is just how accessible it is. It's literally sitting right outside Shinjuku Station's west exit. But here's the absolute best part. In a city that's famous for restaurants requiring reservations months in advance, you don't need one here. Actually, you can't make one. These tiny little counters, we're talking maybe 5 to 10 seats max, are strictly walk-ins only. The whole thrill is in the hunt. You're gonna walk these narrow lanes, peeking over locals' shoulders, just trying to spot an empty stool. Honestly, finding a spot on your own is where the real magic happens. And honestly, finding it is a breeze once you know what to look for in all that Shinjuku chaos. Just head out of the west exit, that's Nishiguchi, and walk toward those massive, brightly lit electronics stores. You're totally surrounded by futuristic Tokyo, but then, keep your eyes peeled for this low gateway draped in red lanterns and neon. Once you see it, just step right into the smoke. The contrast is wild. One second you're in a modern metropolis, the next you're in a nostalgic, bustling lane barely a few meters wide. Just follow the crowd and that amazing smell of grilled chicken. Oh, and a quick tip. If you're coming from the Seibu Shinjuku station, just use exit C7 or C8 and you're practically right there. Moving right along to part 2. Perfect timing and costs. When you're mapping out your evening, here's the baseline of what you should expect. Most of these tiny bars run from about 5 p.m. until midnight, though a few legendary spots keep the grills blazing until dawn. Budget-wise, it is incredibly accessible. You're looking at maybe 2,000 to 3,000 yen per person for a really fantastic evening of cold drinks and hot skewers, which are usually just 100 to 200 yen each. Just remember, cash is absolutely king here, and pay attention to the pacing. You really only spend 20 to 40 minutes per counter. Why so fast? Because this is a dynamic bar-hopping scene. It's all about trying a few house specialties, grabbing a quick drink, and moving on to the next spot, not settling in for a massive 3-hour meal. So choosing your vibe based on the clock is key. Around 4 p.m., the alley is just sort of waking up. It's calm, grills are firing up, and you can easily grab any seat you want. But from 6 to 9 p.m., that's peak magic. You get that frantic, shoulder-to-shoulder, smoky Tokyo energy packed with salarymen unwinding after work. Then, by 10 p.m., the tourist crowd really thins out, leaving just the hardcore regulars and night owls. Weekdays are generally quieter than weekends, obviously. Also, keep the seasons in mind. In the dead of winter, it's incredibly cozy with all that steam and warm lantern light. But in the middle of summer, with dozens of open charcoal grills going, it is hot. So if you're there in July or August, definitely aim to arrive well after sunset to beat that heat. To really nail your timing strategy, listen to this great advice from food and drink writer Ryo Takeda. He says, if you care about the food more than the crowd, go at opening. The first hour is when the grill is cleanest and the cook has time to talk you through the cuts. This is literally a game changer. By 8 p.m., a popular counter is just running flat out. The smoke is thick, and you're basically getting whatever comes off the grill fastest. But arrive early, you get the chef's undivided attention. You might score secret off-menu items, get a quick lesson on seasoning, and actually connect with the person cooking your meal. All right, let's talk about blending in. Part 3, the unwritten etiquette rules. Mastering these rapid-fire unwritten rules is absolutely the difference between feeling like an awkward outsider and being welcomed as a guest. First off, space is at an absolute premium, so get your pash ready before you even sit down to keep things moving. Next, always order a drink first, then your food, and keep a glass in hand. It shows respect to the grill master and their bottom line. Remember that 20 to 40-minute pacing we mentioned? Eat, pay, and move on so the next person can sit. Lingering for hours over one single beer actually hurts their business.
When it comes to photos, definitely ask before snapping pictures of people or pointing your lens into a bar, though taking pictures of the neon lane itself is totally fine. And hey, don't stress the language barrier. A lot of places have picture menus. Pointing and smiling is completely expected. It's just a fun part of the dance. Now, if you're traveling solo, you hit the jackpot. These tiny spots are practically built for one. The counters are intimate, cooks are super used to lone diners, and you'll fit right in with locals grabbing a quick bite before heading home. But for my vegetarians out there, honestly, you're gonna have a slightly harder time. This alley is a proud meat skewers haven, which goes way back to its post-war history. That being said, it's not totally hopeless. The grilled veggies they do have, like shiitake mushrooms or shishido peppers, are usually amazing. You can also usually hunt down some edamame, pickles, or a bit of vegetable tempura if you look around. You absolutely do not need to be fluent to thrive here, but learning just 3 simple Japanese phrases will smooth out your night and instantly charm those busy cooks. First, a polite sumimasen, excuse me, to grab their attention over that loud, sizzling grill. Second, okaike, the bill, for when you're full and ready to hop to the next spot. And finally, when those cold drinks arrive, raise your glass with some real energy and give them a hearty kanpai for cheers. Seriously, say it with some enthusiasm. If you just throw yourself into the spirit of the alley and try these out, the staff will meet you more than halfway. Which brings us to our final chapter, Part 4, Avoiding First-Timer Surprises. Okay, picture this. You sit down, the vibe is incredible, and suddenly a small dish of simmered veggies or potato salad that you definitely didn't order appears right in front of you. Do not panic. Let's bust the biggest tourist trap myth in Japanese nightlife right now. That little dish is called an Otoshi. It's just a standard bar seat or cover charge, usually around 300 to 500 yen, and it is totally normal, not a scam. You'll see this everywhere in Japan, from high-end ginza bars to these tiny alley spots. Think of it not as a dry cover charge, but as a fun, regional welcome dish that gives you something tasty to munch on while your skewers are cooking. Just enjoy it as your admission ticket to a deeply authentic experience. And here's something that can completely derail your night if you aren't prepared. Pointed out by editor Claire Whitmer. She says, bring more cash than you think you need, in small notes. Nothing kills the mood like discovering at a 5-seat counter that they do not take cards. This is crucial, guys. Imagine finishing a great meal, handing over your credit card, and hearing cash only. You do not want to be the person awkwardly leaving your cozy seat, sprinting out of the alley into Shinjuku to find a 7-Eleven ATM while your friends wait as collateral. Even the places with a card reader heavily prefer cash for these tiny tabs. Bring small yen notes and coins, and your night will be completely frictionless. Just a few more quick logistical lifesavers to keep in your back pocket before we wrap up. 1. These tiny counters have 0 room for bathrooms, so use the station or convenience store before you go in. 2. No room for luggage, so stash your bags in the station coin lockers. 3. Smoking is very often allowed in these old-school joints. If that bothers you, try to grab a seat at the open end of the counter near the street. 4. Keep an eye on the clock. Last trains leave around midnight to 1 a.m., and a late-night Shinjuku taxi will cost you. 5. Never tip. It's just not done in Japan, and you'll probably have a confused cook chasing you down the street to give you your change. And lastly, if a bar feels closed off or gently turns you away, even if there are empty seats, it might just be a regulars-only spot. Don't take it personally. It's how they preserve community spaces. Just smile, wave, and find a counter that waves you right in. So, you now have the ultimate insider's playbook. We've tackled the navigation, the timing, the etiquette, and those sneaky surprises. The only question left is, are you ready to let the thick smoke, clattering trains, and neon lights of Omoide Yokocho pull you in for an unforgettable meal? Or will you take these newfound etiquette skills just down the street to explore the infamous tiny bars of Golden Gai? The night in Shinjuku is entirely yours to claim.